Today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm announcing a new segment, well, at least a new playlist, where I decided to start covering fire and movement. Yeah, you might say I'm a late adopter. I uh, I found several of these, and these are the ones I have so far, and I'm probably going to pick up a few more, but I found several of these at my friendly local gaming store. They had these out for like $1, and I know I can probably get them cheaper on like Wargame Vault or PD versions, but you know what? I like the tactile feel of the magazines, and I'm kind of a hoarder, so I decided to pick a few of these up, and I might pick a few more over time, and I'll do segments where I cover them individually and talk a little bit about what's in there. And this is really kind of a walk down memory lane. As you can see, the earliest one I have is number 22, and that's from 1980. So these are about the wargaming hobby at that time. So this is kind of a snapshot and a look back, so to speak, as I go through these. I cover a lot of war game magazines, and mostly war game magazines that come with a war game. These were some early war game magazines that were just about war games. And in fact, these were the founder of Fire and Movement was Rodger MacGowan, and I'll talk a little bit about him as well. Rodger left us this year, and very sad. And I did a post on my channel. So that's, if you look at my post down below, you'll see a little bit of a tribute to him, and I'll put a link to that in the description as well. But Rodger founded Fire and Movement, and let's lay some of these out here so you can at least see what are some of the things we're gonna. There, I got this one. Even it still has the protective mailing cover. I might see who that is. I better cover that up. So I just picked out a few of these just to have a little bit of a start to covering these. And again, I'll talk about these individually. But Fire and Movement was, I think, founded in like 1975. I think the first issue might have been like 76. But Rodger MacGowan was, I think, a trained graphic artist, and was wargaming. Much like myself, I started wargaming in the 70s. He started wargaming in the 60s, and then was interrupted by Vietnam. And then when he came back, he started wargaming again and started doing correspondence with some of his old wargaming buddies with something called battle reports, where he would kind of talk about the game and a little bit aspects of it. And then he eventually started a magazine, Arquebus, where he covered game reviews and reports and hobby news and all kinds of stuff, to the point where some of his friends said, hey, with your background, why don't you start a magazine? So he started up Fire and Movement. And as you can see in here, he was the founding editor of this. This is the earliest one I have, which is 22. Let's get to the front here. You can see a little bit of the beginning there, where he is the founding editor. So he started this up and started some new innovations in this kind of hobby. There was the General at that time, which was kind of a house organ of Avalon Hill, and you had Strategy and Tactics, which was kind of a house organ as SPI, and actually had games with it. And you had like Moves magazine, which was all about moves. It was all about strategy and talking about the games from a kind of after action and strategy type point of view. Where this one is really kind of a combination. It has some of that, but it's really a lot talks about the gaming industry and talks about the games themselves. A little bit more of a review of it. So it kind of was a counterbalance to Moves at that time. And so so this was a big addition to the hobby. Now, Rodger's done a lot of stuff. He did a lot of the covers that we know and love in the gaming industry over time. He's done a lot of work with gaming companies, but he does have a legacy in this space with fire and movement. Also, he was part of the kind of the continuing legacy of the Charles S. Roberts Awards, which I think I pulled out this from. I'll put a link to that. I did a little blurb on this when I was at a friendly local gaming store the other day when I first saw these, and I pulled out that I think there's an article for, or an ad for, the Charles S. Roberts Awards in here. Let's see if I can find it here now. Maybe it's not in this one. I thought it was. But he was the non-voting chairman and advisor up until the time of his passing, and was kind of a guiding light behind the awards. He didn't have a direct involvement. He was more of a making sure that it was still around and had good people working on it and helping it stay alive. He was more like a steward in that regard, and so that kind of brings me to this, the Charles S. Roberts Awards, which are ongoing right now for this month, for June until June 1st. You got a chance to vote. I'll put a link to the ballot in the description down below. In fact, I'll probably start off the description with that ballot so you can jump right to it and vote. If you haven't played all the games, don't worry. Just vote what you know, or vote what you think is right, or do some research and then vote, or if you don't feel comfortable, then you don't have to. There's no pressure on it. But there's a lot of good games that are up this year, and take a look at them. They deserve a look, and some of them might even deserve your vote. So I'll put a link to that in there as well. So this is really kind of serves kind of a threefold. I'm introducing fire and movement and talking a little bit about its history with Rodger MacGowan, which I think is appropriate. I'm talking a little bit about his legacy, and again, I'll put a link to that kind of tribute that I wrote for him, but there was a lot of other ones out there, so please take a look at that. And he was continuing on with the C3I, his most recent magazine endeavor, which was, and had games in its issues as well, but it really focused a lot on the gaming industry and kind of had a ties to GMT, which he did a lot of work for as well. But in any event, talking about fire movement, talking about Rodger, and talking about the Charles S. Roberts Awards, which are ongoing right now. So anyway, there we go. Get a little bit better view of all that stuff there. So want to thank you for stopping by and stopping in on this. Take a look at the ballot for the Charles S. Roberts Awards. If you're a fan of fire movement, please feel free to drop comments down below. Especially as I start continue to go through these and talk a little bit about them. Maybe it'll bring back a little bit of nostalgia. Maybe it will, put some comments. Tell me what your favorite moments were on those things. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate any time you've given to me. And this is just another one of my mini segments. This will be its own playlist, Fire Movement, and it'll also be under Wargame magazines. So take a look at that and let me know what you think. Anyway, thanks for stopping by and take care. A little bonus, as I was looking through these, I found this right here, two articles on Charles S. Roberts, the founder of Avalon Hill and the namesake of the Charles S. Roberts Awards. And this article right here is by Rodger MacGowan. And this one over here is a TME exclusive interview by John Venor about Charles S. Roberts right there. So you can do a freeze frame on that if you want to read it, because I don't think I'm going to take time to read it, but I want to read it. Maybe you need to pick up this issue of Fire and Move. Or when I get to this issue, maybe I'll spend a little bit more time here. Ooh, boy, a teaser. Something for you guys to come back to. But there it is. This is an article by Rodger about Charles S. Roberts, so I definitely probably will spend some time on this one when I get to this issue. Anyway, thanks again for stopping by. Thanks for watching.